how's it going? Welcome to today's installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs. Thank you for watching. This vlog here is... It's a bit of a disappointing one. You know, I'm sitting in the Saab, the 2006 Saab 9.3 2.0T. And every time I have a video about this car... It's almost like it's something bad, you know. I've had this car for like what, 2 years now, just a little over 2 years, and every time there's a video about it, you know, it's just been something bad, you know. I mean, for the most part, because you know the car just has issues, you know, and the plan was to always, you know, try at some point to fix a lot of the issues. Within the last year of vlogging anyway, you know, we've done quite a bit of videos with the Saab finally, you know. Not a whole lot of big things, but I mean, we did the seatbelt buckle here, we did new spark plugs, we did a throttle body cleaning, we did the cabin air filter video. We just did the alternator video, which at this point, I filmed that video 6 days ago. Was it 6 days? I started filming that video 6 days ago, because it was a 2-day process. So, yeah, we did that, and, you know, the car sits, you know, it sits a lot because of the issues that the car has, you know, and to be quite honest, you know, sometimes I get nervous driving it because of the fact, you know, especially when it comes to front suspension parts that, you know, are in rough shape. You know, you hit something the wrong way and, you know, you could lose control of the car, or something could break off, or, you know, so it's just a lot of sitting. I've only put almost 4,000 miles on this car, I think. No? 3,000? I lost track. See? That's because I don't drive the car enough. The car is just about to turn 198,000 miles. And I've got this car, it was somewhere around 194,800, something like that. But, yeah, so that goes to show you, in the 2.5 years, 2 years and almost 2 months that I've had the car, it doesn't get driven, which is sad, because I actually love this car. I love this car a lot. When I drive this car, I love being behind the wheel of this car. It's fantastic. Fantastic car. But we have a new dilemma. And I don't know where to go from here at this point. You know, we just did the alternator. I'm all excited because, you know, this car is running again, and I was, you know, making an effort to get it driven, you know, for days, you know. That's usually what'll happen, you know. If the car ends up sitting, you know, then, you know, I'll make an effort to take it out and you know, run it, you know, a few days in a row, you know, get it driven, and then I'll, you know, park it again and go back to using the other two cars for a little bit. So we did the alternator, and the car was sitting for almost 2 months. So I was like, okay, alternator's good, let's drive it, you know. So I was making an effort to take this thing everywhere, you know, within the next couple of days after doing the alternator. And then something happened. So we're driving the car. We're 2 days into our new alternator. And then I get hit. Oh, man. So... yeah, this took place, and as you can clearly see, it did quite a bit of damage. An F-150 hit me. I'm not going to go into all of the details right now because I'm still dealing with obviously the insurance companies. They're going back and forth, so I'm not going into exactly what happened. And I'm not gonna fix it, guys. You know, there's no point in fixing it for several reasons. And you know, I mean, one of the bigger reasons is, for the most part, yeah, the car does look like it's in fantastic shape still. But you know, I mean, these panels, you know, were already fixed at one time, and the rust is coming through. It's rusting down there. The front fenders, you know, we got holes forming in the fenders. There's, you know, rust under the car, the rocker moldings and stuff. So there's really no point. And with this side having been fixed once before, there's, you know, it's not worth it. It's too crunchy and stuff. This was all fixed once before anyway. My stepsister had body work done to it, you know, to correct the rust at one point, and it even started coming back, as you can see, like the bubbling, which was still up here. But this is I don't know, this kind of put a damper on my plans for this, you know, car. This door doesn't really open anymore, unless you really try to tug on it. It's really sad. It is really sad. You can even see the scuff marks on the wheel, on the tire, from where the tire was moving when, you know, the impact had hit. It looked a little worse than this because after the initial hit, like, there was still a body piece here with like the body filler or the Bondo or whatever it was, you know, but it was hanging. So before I left, you know, to come home that night, we just ripped it off and threw it in a trash can that was nearby. This is the plastic fender liner here. It's all bent in weird because of the inner piece of metal that's all bent out of shape. So if I hit a bump just right, the tire kind of rubs up against that, you know, for the moment. And this piece of metal here is bent inward. I'm going to cut that off, you know. But yeah, it's upsetting. The door handle got scuffed up. I mean, you can kind of see where it started here and then ended up there. This fuel door still opens and closes amazingly. It was kind of weird after the accident, but after opening it a couple times, it seems to be going back to normal. Didn't really do any damage elsewhere back here. It kind of ended right there. So when I got hit, I will say that I am extremely impressed with how this car took the impact, because, you know, I really wasn't sure with this car being this old and, you know, the old, you know, suspension parts back there and stuff. I thought for sure, you know, maybe, you know, the wheel would have been cockeyed, like, you know, the axle would have broke, or one of the other suspension parts, you know, would have come loose or something. But no, she actually handled pretty well. It was still, you know, pretty violent, you know, obviously you're getting hit. My initial concern was when I saw that it was about to happen, I kind of braced myself, you know, and my initial thought was, you know, the maybe the side airbags going off, because there's I don't think there's. Oh, there are. Yeah, there are curtain airbags in this car. So I didn't know if the curtains were going to deploy, or if the seats, the seat bolsters would deploy, but they didn't. So I mean, he either didn't hit me hard enough or it wasn't in the right spot. Either way, I'm just glad the airbags didn't go off. But yeah, so I drove this car home perfectly fine, and even after the accident, the last couple days, this happened 3 nights ago, is when I got hit. But even after that, I still have been driving the car because I don't know. I can't believe that it still drives perfectly fine. Like, it wasn't perfectly fine to begin with, but I mean, for the issues that were wrong with it before the accident, what I'm saying is the car is driving like it was never hit. Other than like I said, you hit a bump. If it's a big enough bump and the car bounces, that little rubber or plastic liner back there will rub against the tire briefly. So I don't know, but it really puts a damper on my plans for this vehicle. My initial goal was to get this car to 200,000 miles, and we're not too far. It's actually further though with this car in general, because I don't drive this thing every day. So getting to that 2,000 mile mark would obviously almost be like, a year away or something, compared to, the Civic, which is usually the daily driver. So, I mean, I could rack a couple thousand miles up, within a couple months. The Grand Am has a better chance of hitting, a 2,000 mile mark, within a couple of months. This car, there's a lot that can go wrong within within the 200 or the 2,000 mile mark, that we need to reach it. But I really feel like this car, even before the accident, this car has made it this long. This car deserves to see 200,000 miles. Like, the real dilemma here is where I live in the state of Ohio. We have to renew our license plates at least once a year, which renews the registration. And obviously, I've got a total of 4 cars here that are going to have to be renewed by the end of next month. So we're coming up on the renewal of the registration, and a part of me, honestly doesn't know if it's worth to, update and renew another year of registration for this car, because of this situation. I don't know what to really do with it. Like, at the same time, I feel like I really want to push this car to 200,000 miles, but I also don't feel like putting any more money into this car now. Now that it's been wrecked, and I don't know, it's just, I just don't want to put any more money into it. So I'm not doing the struts now, for sure. And whatever's going on with the steering rack, or this, the looseness in the wheel here that I've kind of talked about from time to time, I'm not going to do anything about that either. Her tires are, we're down to like 4/32 on the tires, which, is still passable in most inspection states, but, tires would be on the list, here real soon, especially with us now going into winter. In fact, it's starting to snow now. So, there's just the leaks under the hood, like the weird power steering pump leak, and, we saw some oil when we did the alternator change, so the oil pan might be leaking, or, so, I mean, yeah, we have fluid leaks, and, it's not worth throwing any money into now. At least the alternator, obviously, which happened before the accident, I bought the alternator for $15. It was half off on New Year's Eve. I picked the right day to go to the junkyard because they were having a special where everything was 50% off because of the New Year's. So instead of paying like $30-some for the alternator, which still isn't bad, don't get me wrong, I paid $15. If I had thrown a brand new alternator in here, it would have been close to $300, and that would have been upsetting. A $300 alternator that's living in a car for 2 days, and then the car gets hit. So, I don't know. My point is, I don't know if I want to throw any more money towards this car. I don't know if I should just drive it. I don't want to stop driving it because I really like this car. And obviously, my stepsister, it's definitely a sentimental car to her. And, I had to make that phone call to her, out in Colorado, that I got hit in the car, and, and she understands, whatever I decide to do with it. All that she asks is, if I junk it or whatever with it, she wants me to take a couple of, emblems and stuff off of the car to send to her, so, she can kind of have a keepsake of it, I don't blame her, I don't blame her at all. It just kind of sucks that this is the situation that we're in. I also, like, the registration here in Ohio is not a whole lot. It's, what is it, like $40 a car or something. I mean, when you have 4 cars, yeah, it adds up. But, if this car ends up not making it through the year, I don't know what to do. I really want to keep it going. But it's like, if something else on the car breaks, then I'm done. I'm out. We're not going to do anything about it. So that's the situation that we're in. This has been a great start to the new year. 3 days into the year, I get popped on the side, and I don't know. I was just like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. So the insurance company, obviously, they need a damage estimate. I did have it to a body shop the other day, and they were gonna, they took pictures, and they're gonna write, something up. I don't know what the amount of damage is here, but like I said, either way, I even told the body shop, we're not fixing it. But yeah, still runs, still drives, literally acts like nothing ever happened. Oh yeah, and then this showed up the day after, which is which is kind of sad. Oh no, that's, yeah. Obviously, it thinks it's due for oil change because I set the clock and the date finally, so it must have caught up on the right time to think that it's ready for its, for its service. So I know now, regardless of our time frame here, I am still going to make the effort to drive this car a little more. And like I said, we've got a little over a month's time to get it toward that, 200,000 mile mark. My plan after the 200,000 miles, honestly, was, I don't want to sell this car to anybody. It's kind of funny because I work with somebody who is literally asking to buy the car off me. And I don't want to sell it to them because even if it wasn't hit, I really don't feel comfortable selling a car to somebody that, you know, I know has all these issues. You know, if I had obviously gotten to replacing the struts and, you know, all the things that I know is wrong with it, you know, if I was, you know, able to fix that stuff, then yeah, you know, I could, you know, sell it to them. But they insist that they really want this car, and I just said, I just keep saying, you know, I really don't want to. My initial plan was, you know, I don't want to junk this car either. I didn't want to junk this car. When I was done with it, and, you know, I really never talked about it, but the initial goal was to get it to 200,000 miles. And, you know, a little after, you know. At that point, I was going to think about whether I wanted to keep this car or not. I at least wanted to see 200,000 miles. But I wasn't planning on junking it. What I wanted to do was actually donate it to the school, the tech school that I graduated from. I would rather see this car, which is still running perfectly fine, still perfectly drivable. I really would like to see this car go to another good use. And, you know, I even told my stepsister the same thing. You know, I don't want to see this car go to the junker. Even though if it goes to the pull apart, yeah, you know, people can take things off of this car, and, you know, they can also, you know, put them to good use in the other cars, you know, another Saab. But there again, this car is going to be destroyed at a junkyard. People will pull things apart, and they're going to break things, and a lot of things are going to be rendered useless because, you know, I get it. You know, people are there to pull something out, and they're going to cut wires, and they're going to break plastic, and they're going to do whatever they can to get their part out. But at the school, you know, she'll still be able to run. She'll still live. She could serve a purpose. With the weird things that go on with this car, you know, there's a lot for students to try and figure out and diagnose. I'd much rather see this car go to something like that, and then, you know, there's a better chance that it's gonna stay, you know, in one piece. The school doesn't really have anything like this. They don't really have any kind of European designed car, even though it's technically a GM car. But at least they didn't when I graduated. So I would much rather see it go to something like that, and not go to the junkyard or something. So that was my original plan, and I still want to follow through with that plan. They're not going to care that it got, you know, hit. You know, that damage there apparently doesn't have anything to do with the overall performance or drivability of the car, it appears. So I might still do that. There's a good chance that is what I'm going to do. I just have to decide now on whether I want to do it before or after the registration is up on this car. And that's gonna suck. But in the meantime, I'm gonna drive this car, you know, as much as I can. Try to keep it, you know, more locally. If I have to, you know, if it's gonna be like a long travel or something, then yeah, I'm not gonna do it, because even though the longer travel would be nice, you get more mileage that way. But I'm just, yeah, I have a feeling it's not gonna make 200,000 in a month's time, for sure. But I'm going to try to not let it sit so much anymore, at least within the time. I want to drive it more. I want to get more time out of this car, and then decide on what we're going to do with it afterwards. So that's where I stand with it right now. And you know, again, it's just a crappy situation that two people found themselves in. So that's what we got going on. It is what it is. Thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next one. In the meantime, take care.